tune into that. Let's pivot to some football. If you're looking to get tickets, though, to your next big event, a concert, comedy show, a Cavs game, Guardians game, use Game Time because it takes the headache out of finding tickets online. With the Game Time Picks feature, the app does all the hard work for you, curating the best deals so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. The best part, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund you 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Davod Njoku did his Radio Row press tour on Thursday and basically said, Myles, don't leave. We're closer than you think to winning. Couple of the quotes he gave to Mary Kay Cabot. For me, I'm Cleveland ride or die. I hope Myles tries to stay. That's like a brother to me, obviously, so I'm going to talk to him and see what I can do. That's above me, though, obviously. I'm not mad at him for wanting to win a championship. We all do, and when asked how close they are, he said, of course, we've had success in the past, too. It's not impossible. It's there for us to take. We just have to take it. G. Bush.
You gonna come to me first?
Is there any way you think Davod Njoku or the fellow Browns teammates can talk Myles into wanting to stay? Or at this point, is this just an inevitable outcome where Myles has made up his mind, there is no changing it, and he wants out for good?
I'm gonna answer this question with a question. We've all worked with people before, right? In offices, maybe in life and in media, wherever you're at, right? In your walk of life, we've all worked with somebody who comes to you and say, hey, man, I just want to let you know this is I feel we're really cool. You're the first person I'm kind of telling. But, yeah, this gonna be, I put my 2 weeks in. You know what I'm saying? I got this going on, or I got an offer from over here. They didn't match it. I'm just giving you the courtesy to let you know. And then we all give them the, oh, man, you sure you can't work something? Let me go. I'll talk to John, man. I know John, he the foreman. Let me go talk to him real quick. Like, come on, bro. Listen, we going to miss you around here, man. And you're like, yeah. After 2 or 3 days, it sinks in. Y'all get together. Y'all get that little cake. That's that going away party on Friday. You shut down your cubicle and eat some conies and some chips, and then you pat them on the back and you get them little gift cards for Olive Garden or the Outback Steakhouse, and you send him on his way. Ain't nobody convinced nobody in the world ever not to leave a corporation or a company, and it's ever worked. It just hasn't happened. Like, organizations can come to you and say, all right, listen, I'll give you some more money, and you might say, or, hey, I'll give you a higher role and you might stay, or I'll overpay you or overcompensate you and you'll stay. But no coworker has ever came with a package of why you should not leave. And you were like, you know what? You said some really great things. I think about, screw what my wife is talking about. I'm going to hang out here, man. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
No, he's been gone. This is This is a 2 to 3 year thought process. 2 to 3 years, this thing has been in the works, in the moving. My marriage counselor said to me after I got a divorce, he said, you know what, Garrett, by the time a woman asks for a divorce, she's already contemplated it in her mind. She's already gone through with it. Women don't just throw out divorce. Like, it's a process. They have to let me see what my life is without him. Oh, I'll take that road. Like, it don't happen that way. So Myles Garrett has already thought about that. No, he can't persuade him to come back. And he did the thing that I think his agents and Clutch Sports said, when you put it in writing, when you put it out on the internet, when you do the press run, then you make sure you can't. It's scorched earth policy. Now you shut the door behind you because of what you said, right? So, no. That was done.
I've thought a lot about this since Monday because we were responding to it. As it literally broke at 11 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Top of Clutch must have said at 11 o'clock we're hitting send. And we were literally in our show open, and Mikey got in all of our ears and said, breaking news, Myles wants out. This was an orchestrated behind the scenes with Clutch driving this thing from jump.
Yeah.
Thought it was interesting that I would think that there would have been a lot of discussions between Myles and folks at Clutch and maybe even LeBron about how this was going to handle. And Are we bringing LeBron into this? The rollout wasn't smooth. It had a lot of rough edges. And I just thought it was way too aggressive for a guy doesn't have a hammer in his hand.
Right.
And I've talked to a lot of people, both here in Cleveland and around the league, over the last 4 days, and I've really changed my thinking on this greatly. I don't think he's going anywhere. And I don't think it has anything to do with Davod Njoku pleading. I think Myles and Clutch wildly overplayed their hand. What are his options, Jason? The Browns seem dug in. From everything that I'm hearing, the Browns are like, yeah, we're not even really interested in taking calls from teams.
They're not picking up the phone right now.
We don't care what the offer is. We're not moving him. So when you're at an impasse, you always look for, obviously, all impasses need to have a resolution at some point. Myles wants two things. Myles is big on personal. He's big on I. And I've always kind of been surprised at how publicly he proclaims that. It's rare for me. I've never seen a quarterback at the beginning of the season come out and say, yep, I'm going for the MVP this year. Those are personal awards. I've always taken the view that personal awards follow team success. That's why I wasn't shocked that he didn't win DPOY last night. I don't think you can give that award to a guy who played on a 3-win team. I just don't. Is he the best defensive player? I think he is. I didn't for a second think he was going to win because it defies logic that the best player led a team to 3 wins, particularly on defense. So with all that being said, I think if I'm the Browns, I just sit tight and my approach is I'll see you in July. You've got 5 months to get over this and to cool down. You will, because he's going for, okay, yeah, he's saying he wants to win. And I believe that. But he also, if you tell Myles Garrett right now, you're on a trajectory to be firmly in the conversation, to be the greatest edge pass rusher ever, that means a lot to him. That might mean more to him than a Super Bowl, because we talked about his penchant for personal achievement. Is he going to achieve all-time greatest edge rusher status if he sits out a year? Or if he sits out 2 years?
If he gets the Super Bowl, he will.
I don't know that, G. I don't. And by the way, I think his odds of staying in Cleveland and amassing the same numbers that he has over the last 2 years for the next 2 years gets him closer to becoming the greatest edge pass rusher ever. And I'm not saying he's going to end up as that. He's in the conversation right now. If you put him in neutral for 2 years, Bob Feller took 2 of the years of his prime out and said, I'm going to go fight World War II. And he did that voluntarily. And he paid the price for it. He's still a Hall of Famer, but he could have been in the argument for the greatest right-hander ever.
But don't you think, Jason, that's what he was telling us when he said, my goal was never to go from, Cleveland to Canton? He's telling you, like, hey, I want to win games.
But he doesn't control that.
Well, he doesn't control. All he can do is control what he does on the field, and his play on the field is spectacular. So what he's saying to you is this: I want the GM, I want the coach to live up to the same standards that I'm living up to. And if they give you a plan and say, hey, what are we going to do in the next 2 years to get to the playoffs and get to where we want to go and to be championship contenders, they probably told him, bro, we don't have nothing. Be honest.
Well, they have a plan.
But what I'm saying is that they have a plan, but that plan,
he didn't like it.
Yeah, that plan is not. It's far-fetched to even glimpse. Like, even if I had a genie, I would have to have a genie to make the Browns a championship contender next year. Like, you got to find a quarterback. You got to find a lot of this stuff. And the biggest part that I don't think people is drilling down on, the reason they may tell him no is they can't do it because of the cap. Like, from this situation, from what I'm hearing, like, they're saying they might have to get rid of Conklin. They got to reschedule, restructure Denzel and restructure Deshaun Watson just to get enough cap room to trade Myles Garrett, and they only got $6 or $7 million.
That was one of the biggest reasons that I heard from national guys why this will not happen.
Before the draft.
Right.
Before the draft, for sure.
After the new NFL year, it becomes a little bit easier, which is why I'm not going to change. I'm on record. I would trade him. But but I would trade him for 26 picks. I would trade him in June, July for 26 picks because you're right. He's a phenomenal talent. He's going to the Hall of Fame. What have they won with him? What have they won?
Zero.
Because they don't have a quarterback. Until you get a quarterback, nothing else, it doesn't matter.
Now there is a scenario someone brought up to me yesterday, which it would be just like the Browns. They do get the quarterback right. They are amazing next year, but their defense falls completely flat because they don't have Myles Garrett anymore. And unlikely.
That's a chance.
I mean,
unlikely.
But we would take that.
The way we spin
and
Browns'
we might get hit
tails,
by a train on the way home.
But Jay, the way things fold out for the Browns, oftentimes you're like, well, of course. Now we need an edge rusher. We don't have one, and we're giving up 25 points, 30 points a game.
Hey, listen, I think everybody in the world would say, would you sign up for a world where the Cleveland Browns have a franchise quarterback, but their defense is kind of garbage and gives up a lot of points? I would raise my hand and take that, and I'll say, I'll take 2 years of that if you want to.
Still not going to get a championship.
Well, they're closer if you have the quarterback.
With a garbage defense, you're not going to win a championship. You can be middle of the road and win. You can't be garbage.
You can find an edge rusher easier than you can find a franchise quarterback.
That's I agree.
Patrick Mahomes or Myles Garrett, which one's getting traded first?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's easy.
But that's what I'm
Patrick
saying.
Mahomes is clearly.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Josh Allen or Myles Garrett, Lamar Jackson or Myles Garrett, who's getting traded first?
Yeah.
So, I said it the other day. What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to find a veteran quarterback that's going to scrape you to 9 wins, 10 wins? Maybe you slide into the playoffs next year. Okay, great. You're going to get your doors blown off in the first round. What have you really accomplished? Now you've taken yourself out of position of being able to find the long-term answer at quarterback.
I disagree with that theory, and here's why. What do you really accomplish? Well, where are we today at 3 wins? We're looking at ourselves at Team 32. That's what we are. We're Team 32. And you're not going to go from 3-14 to contending for a title. You know that. You take steps. So where are we if we win 9 games next year? I'll tell you this. A hell of a lot closer to contending than we are at 3-14.
Not if you don't have a long-term quarterback.
No.
Not if you don't have a quarterback who can take on Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes.
I agree with that.
You have to beat those guys in consecutive weeks.
Sure, I understand that.
Insane.
And that's why Josh and Lamar are sitting there going, again.
Yeah.
I understand that. But I'm also going to be a realist and say, look at the quarterbacks in the AFC right now. No matter what happens through the draft, through trade, through free agency, are we going to get one better than Patrick Mahomes? Are we going to get one better than Lamar Jackson?
Not in free agency,
Are we going to get one better than Josh Allen?
No.
So what I'm saying is, and this is, it sounds like it's a defeatist mentality. It's a realist mentality. The reality of this situation is we can go out and get a difference maker quarterback and easily still lose to any one of those 3 guys.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't take into account now Bo Nix and Justin Herbert
CJ
and
Stroud.
Joe Burrow and CJ Stroud. Like, where are we? What are we doing?
Which is why I want to wait until 2026, where allegedly, hopefully, more than 2025, one of those types of guys will be available.
But I think that's a wing and a prayer philosophy. I think that's a wing and a prayer mentality.
I think it's better than trying to.
Because you also have to go 2-15 again.
Yeah.
Well, not if you have the draft capital to trade up. So now you may not have it to trade up to 1. But you know what?
I heard you say that. I think it was yesterday, and I'm arguing with you on the treadmill. I'm going, wait a minute, Jay. What if the team that goes 2-15, and we're 5-11 or 12, says we're not moving off this because Arch is coming out, and I don't care what you offer.
Right. Sure, of course.
That's possible too.
And again, all of this is risk, no doubt.
I understand
all of this
that. You're
is
calculating the risk,
calculated
right?
risk. But if there's 4 or 5 that are available next year that you look at right now and say, we think all of these guys are franchise-type quarterbacks. No, you may not get Arch or whoever's number 1.
Well,
but
you beat Denver and get the 6th pick and 6 quarterback
be
and
in
still
position.
Be good.
You have to trust your scouting process and you got to get it right.
That's where I lose.
I'm with you.
I'm taking two.
I don't trust
but
them to
eventually,
do that.
eventually,
I'm taking 2 this year.
I was talking to Chris Rose and Nathan Zegura last night. And by the way, Nathan loves Shedeur Sanders. Does that give you guys any pause?
Nope. I'll take both. Listen, I'm taking
because I was watching as Chris
answer.
and Nathan were having the conversation. Chris was like, "No, you do not want him." Same thing he said on our show last week.
Yeah.
His legs aren't. This is not Deion Sanders' lower half.
Yeah.
Okay. His legs are substandard for what you want to do at quarterback in the NFL.
Substandard legs is crazy.
But I was watching Nathan and Chris go back and forth, and Nathan is plugged in. He's Browns media.
Yep.
He knows what's being said
Yep.
inside that building.
Yep.
And when he was really pushing that Shadour's our guy, and he wasn't speaking for the organization, he was just saying, I love this guy. I've gone back and I've watched 5 or 6 of his games. I think he's a great decision maker. He's tough as nails. He played behind the worst line last year. I think that this is the guy that we should take. That tells me that he might be hearing that from other voices too.
And you know what? I've said it before. If they believe he's the guy, then you have to trust the people
You're
you
gonna
have
live
in
and
that
die with
position,
that.
and you have to take him.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
It is.
And a busted clock is right twice. The Browns have to get it right once in 30 years. Like, come on. 30 years.
Well,
Could they be a busted clock? Don't give me Baker.
I'm
Don't
telling
give me
you,
Baker.
the guy got two top 5 votes in the MVP race. How many did Deshaun get?
Oh, Lord. Well, one of them was by a media member in Tampa.
Which was funny. I saw you putting that out. I'm like, what in the world? But one of them was from USA Today.
One of them was from USA.
Did he finish in the lead for touchdown passes? I know he probably led in interceptions too, or was up near the top.
Near the top of both.
But they may have gotten it right once in the last 30 years, and then they got it wrong after that.
Yeah.
I know you will always disagree with that assessment, but I'll tell you what. Someone texted me yesterday from Tampa and said, the Bucs have saliva coming out of their mouth thinking about Myles Garrett.
That's crazy.
And so imagine this scenario.
Come on, man.
We have to watch Myles and Baker get a Lombardi trophy anytime in the future. Isn't that Cleveland-like?
That'd be like Kyrie and LeBron getting together.
1,000%.
Which almost happened.
It almost did.
happened.
I was rooting against that just because my existence couldn't continue if that happened and they won one somewhere else. But think about that. Myles goes to Tampa, and because Tampa's not far away.
No.
And Baker and Myles somehow win a championship, head blown,
That'd be
forever.
unbelievable.
Forever. It would be, I can't even think about it.
Yeah.
Let's move on.